So I know there was a lot of people that had angst about Desmond Ridder and the performance that he had yesterday. Ridder was 15 for 18, 115 yards, 6.4 yards per attempt with a touchdown and no interceptions. And look, he did take 4 sacks in the game, but again, we talked about the fact that their defensive front is really, really good. Derek Brown and Thompson and Brian Burns, who they thought initially maybe he wasn't going to play, but then he went out, played, and he was just an absolute wrecking machine. Now, look, here's the thing about Ridder, okay? Ridder did what he had to do Ridder did what he had to do, getting down in the red zone, making the plays that counted the most. Again, Pitts and London, well, they didn't get targets and this, then the other. Yeah, but, when Ridder had to throw the football, first off, he was efficient, 15 for 18. So, again, he wasn't – Bryce Young threw it 38 times in the game. That's no pathway for what the Falcons want to do. I thought he would be somewhere 22, maybe 24. We said that, hey, I asked you the question last week, 24 and a half pass attempts, over, under. I said the under, he was under all of that. When he did throw it, he was completing passes. When he had to target Pitts or a Mac Hollins, again, they made big plays. Hollins made a huge catch. Pitts had that monster catch to get them down deep where he twisted and adjusted and all this kind of thing. But make no mistake about it, the Falcons' DNA and their identity isn't Desmond Ridder hucking it around. Do you want to see more targets and things like that to, Pitts and London and all this kind of stuff? Sure, in a theoretical world. But that's not what our playing personality is. That's not what our identity is. Will it get better? Will it be more efficient? Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, part of this is week 1. That first offensive series that the Falcons came out with on the opening kickoff was dreadful. Ridder completes a pass to himself, and they just get behind the line of scrimmage. And again, but this offense has to stay ahead of the chains. They can't get themselves into second and third and long. And that's where this offense, when they don't get ahead of the chains, they get bogged down in this. And you're not going to ask Ridder to throw it 38 times. I mean, unless you're telling me that we're down like 2 touchdowns through the games, I don't see where Ridder's ever going to have a game where he's going to have 38 pass attempts. Truthfully, I don't see – I don't – and by the way, if he's thrown it 38 times, we're not going to win. That's not a formula for success for us. So I thought Ridder, for what he was asked to do, played well enough. He was efficient passing the football. I'd rather have him take a sack than to make a mistake. He didn't turn the football over at all. And the main key is when they got down in the red zone, they were 3 for 3 on touchdowns. And I've harped on this and harped on this. That's where we have to be great. That's where we have to be elite. All of the other stuff, to be honest with you, really doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter. What you do between the 20s and this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 and do you huck it around or do you run the foot? Whatever. Nobody cares. You're either great in the red zone or this team isn't going to get where we need to be. And this team was great in the red zone. They were 3 for 3 on scoring touchdowns. That's all that matters. I don't care about your fantasy football league and the number of targets that Pitts got or the number of targets that London got. That all doesn't matter. And I told you all this, that, look, this is the squad that we have to. Now, look, when you do throw it to Pitts, he better be great. Well, he had a terrific catch on that ball that was thrown deep to him, turned his body and made the adjustments. And, and again, by the way, too, Pitts also had a 25-yard gain that was negated on a holding penalty. That was by my guy, Chris Lindstrom. had that holding penalty, but that negated a 25-yard, pickup on that. So again, for what Pitts and London and all this are, they're fine. And Ridder's fine too. Again, will Ridder have some bigger performances, over the course of the season? Absolutely. But he was efficient throwing the football. He didn't turn the football over. And the main thing was they were elite when they got to the red zone. And if Desmond Ridder can be elite and the red zone, I don't care what all of his numbers are. I don't care. That's why I told you. I said, look, I think he's only going to throw for about 2,900 yards. People had visions of he's going to throw for 4,000 yards and 34 touchdowns. I mean, look, if he throws for those kinds of numbers, he's going to be the MVP of the league. We're talking about MVP of the league types of stats at that point. I don't think Desmond Ridder is going to be the MVP of the league. But for what he needed to be, and for what they're going to ask him to do, he was fine. He was good enough. Again, you want to see the yards per attempt up. You want to see this. You want to see that. But I'll take 15 for 18 with a touchdown and no turnovers. And we're 3 for 3 scoring touchdowns in the red zone every day of the week. If you told me that we replicate those numbers every single day of the week, that we're 80% completion percentage, we don't turn the football over, we throw touchdowns but don't create interceptions, and we're 100% in the red zone, I'll take that every day of the week. And I don't care if Desmond Ridder throws for 800 yards this season. I'll take those numbers every single day. So again, the offense will be fine. Ridder was fine for what they asked him to do. Don't be looking for a 38 pass attempt performance, because you saw with a guy like Bryce Young, again, that's not a formula for success for teams. Throwing it 38 times for most quarterbacks, unless you're Aaron or Tom Brady, isn't the formula for success. All right, as you listen in to Hittin' Hard, make sure you go into whatever podcast platform that you're listening on and let us know that you're an everyday listener to the program. So we do thank you so much for being a part of our ever-growing community, but let us know that you're an everydayer, as we like to call them, that you listen in 5 days a week into the show.